The mystery of D.B. Cooper, one of the most infamous unsolved cases in American history, revolves around a hijacking that took place on November 24, 1971. The crime and the subsequent disappearance of the hijacker have fueled decades of speculation, theories, and investigations. Here's the story in detail. The incident on the afternoon before Thanksgiving in 1971, a man who identified himself as Dan Cooper purchased a one-way ticket at the Northwest Orient Airlines counter in Portland, Oregon. He paid $20 in cash for Flight 305, a short 30-minute journey to Seattle, Washington. The man appeared to be in his mid-40s, was dressed in a business suit with a black tie, and carried a briefcase and a brown paper bag. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. At first, she thought it was just another man's phone number, but Cooper leaned in and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note, written neatly in block letters, revealed Cooper's demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the aircraft. The hijacking unfolds, Schaffner informed the cockpit crew, and Captain William Scott contacted air traffic control to relay Cooper's demands. The airline, following the FBI's guidance, agreed to comply. As the plane circled Seattle, passengers were told there was a minor mechanical issue, masking the true nature of the hijacking. Upon landing at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, the ransom money and parachutes were delivered to the aircraft. Cooper then released the 36 passengers, keeping the crew of 6 on board. After refueling, he outlined a new flight plan: Mexico City, flying at a low altitude of 10,000 feet with the landing gear down and the cabin unpressurized. Cooper also specified that the plane should fly slowly, at approximately 200 knots. The jump somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Nevada, shortly after 8 p.m., Cooper executed his audacious escape. The plane's rear air stair was lowered, and he leaped into the cold, stormy night equipped with 2 of the parachutes and carrying the ransom money. When the plane landed in Reno, FBI agents and law enforcement officers swarmed the aircraft, only to find it empty. Cooper was gone without a trace. The investigation, the FBI launched one of the most extensive manhunts in U.S. history, codenamed NORJAC, Northwest Hijacking. Despite a massive search effort, Cooper was never found. Authorities scoured the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, focusing on areas where Cooper was believed to have landed based on the flight path. However, the challenging terrain and the severe weather conditions hampered the search. The $200,000 ransom, given to Cooper in cash, was composed of unmarked $20 bills with pre-recorded serial numbers. The hope was that if Cooper attempted to spend or exchange the money, it could be traced. Yet, for years, none of the bills surfaced in circulation. The discovery of ransom. Money in 1980. A breakthrough occurred when an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram discovered 3 bundles of decaying $20 bills while digging in the sand along the Columbia River near Vancouver, Washington. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to Cooper, confirming that at least part of the loot had made its way to the ground. However, no other evidence was found nearby, and the mystery of Cooper's fate remained as murky as ever. Theories and speculation. D.B. Cooper's case became a cultural phenomenon, with countless theories and suspects emerging over the decades. Here are some prominent theories. The experienced parachutist theory. Some investigators believe Cooper was a skilled parachutist who chose the jump conditions deliberately, knowing how to survive them. This theory suggests he might have been a military veteran with parachute training. His choice of clothing and calm demeanor under pressure pointed to a certain level of discipline, perhaps indicating a background in military or aviation. The inexperienced parachutist theory. In contrast, others argue that Cooper was not an expert. The night was stormy and cold, and he jumped without proper skydiving gear, using a reserve parachute unsuitable for a safe landing. The area he chose to jump into was heavily forested, making survival difficult, especially for an inexperienced jumper. This theory leans towards the idea that Cooper may have perished during or shortly after the jump, and his remains were never found. The inside job theory. Some theorists speculate that Cooper might have had inside help, possibly from someone familiar with airline protocols. His specific demands for money and parachutes, along with knowledge of the aircraft's operation, suggested he might have had insider knowledge. However, no concrete evidence ever supported this claim. Multiple suspects and confessions. Over the years, more than 1,000 suspects have been investigated. Several individuals even confessed to being D.B. Cooper, though these confessions were largely discounted due to inconsistencies and a lack of corroborating evidence. The FBI interviewed a variety of suspects, including military veterans, former airline employees, and even a man named Richard Floyd McCoy, who hijacked a plane in a similar fashion months after Cooper's crime. Still, none of the suspects definitively matched all aspects of Cooper's profile. The end of the FBI investigation, in 2016, after 45 years of investigations and more than $2 million spent on the case, the FBI officially closed its active investigation. While it ceased pursuing new leads, the Bureau stated that it would still analyze any physical evidence related to the hijacking. The case remains open in the public domain, with amateur sleuths and private investigators continuing to pursue clues. Cooper's cultural impact. D.B. Cooper's legend has persisted in popular culture, inspiring films, books, and even songs. The audacity of his crime, combined with the mystery of his disappearance, captivated the imagination of the public. He became a sort of folk anti-hero, the man who managed to outwit the authorities and vanish into thin air with a fortune. Why the case remains unsolved? Several factors contribute to the enduring mystery. The most crucial is the lack of physical evidence. Apart from the found ransom money and a black tie that Cooper left behind on the plane, no other trace of him has surfaced. The challenging jump conditions and dense wilderness made it nearly impossible to determine where he might have landed. Additionally, the limitations of forensic technology in the 1970s meant that potential evidence, like fingerprints or DNA from the tie, provided little help in identifying him. Moreover, the passage of time has complicated efforts to solve the case. Key witnesses have passed away and memories have faded. The landscape where Cooper is believed to have landed has changed, and the currency he stole remains unspent. Conclusion: the story of D.B. Cooper is one of audacity, mystery, and enduring speculation. Whether he perished during the jump or survived and lived out his life in anonymity remains one of the great unanswered questions. The case remains a fascinating chapter in American history, symbolizing the allure of the unknown and the enduring quest for answers. Despite the lack of closure, the legend of D.B. Cooper lives on, as elusive and intriguing as the man himself.